right now. You want to be a guest? Yeah. Bye. Damn. What up, people? Hold up. What am I doing? Anybody on here? Hope nobody saw that. Shout yourself out. Let me know you in here. I got a little bit of inspiration this week. We're gonna talk about something that's kind of abstract, kind of different. What up, Nate? We're gonna talk about some deep water trout fishing. I'm talking about like 25, 30, 40 feet of water. That's something I like to do this time of year. We, yeah, maybe we'll talk about that next week, Dan. What up, Dan? This talk was kind of inspired by Dan. Shout out to Dan. It's his birthday. I know that too. But yeah, me and Dan been having a few conversations this week, just talking fishing, and he kind of prompted this idea, this topic that I'm gonna talk about today. I also found this dude right here, this guy PFD underscore TV. He's a local Louisiana kayaker. He's got a channel. Looks like he's been doing it for a couple months now. I just stumbled upon his videos the other day. Um, Here he is down in Cocodrie doing a little sight fishing. He posted this August 2nd, so it must be from a recent trip. But his edits are really nice, very nice to look at. He makes some cool videos, so go check him out. PFD underscore TV, another local yacker, somebody you can follow and see what he's doing and how the fish are behaving on his videos and what the fish he's catching. But yeah, we're gonna give this like 2 more minutes. Then we're gonna start talking about fishing. Dan, I know you've been fishing, man. So where'd you go out of this past week? Were you down? You were down the river, down 23, right? What up, Gustavo? Gustavo been catching a bunch of like saltwater aquarium fish down in Florida. Go check out his latest video. He's been doing work with the boat. He's been catching all kind of cool stuff with colors and different shapes and all kind of crazy stuff down in Florida. Uh-oh, gotta get him in the net. Ah, you got him. Man, that's a nice red. Cocodrie is a spot I don't go to very often. I always stop somewhere short of Cocodrie. But Cocodrie has pretty good fish, and the last few times I've been there, I've done really well on the reds. And you don't have to go far from the launch. One thing weird about all right, so yeah, Dan was down in Buras. Yeah, he had some success though down there. He got a few plaques on the wall. He did what was that? The not Venice, Buras Rodeo, Empire Rodeo. I don't know. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, Dan got to it this past week. Put some skins on the wall. But yeah, so what I was gonna talk about. It's late summer already, man. The summer has passed me by. I haven't fished enough this summer. I haven't caught any jacks. I haven't caught any sharks. Haven't done anything that I usually do in the summertime. I've been lost kind of with nothing's really been working. I did get, a couple good trout trips in. But yeah, my summer has been really off this year. Empire South Royal. Sometimes you better be good than lucky. But yeah, we a lot of my normal summer fish have been messed up with the spillway. But now that they've closed it, I'm thinking that everything's going to start to get back to normal now. I was looking at the world view a few minutes ago. We'll go and look at that a little later. And I'm seeing the clean, salty water starting to trickle back in into Lake Bourne area, into like Delacroix area. A lot of that river water is starting to break up, and it's getting infiltrated by salt water now. So everything should line back up for this fall, and it's just in time because fall is really going to start. It's going to start turning over really soon. Um, we got what is it? It's August already, like the first week of August. We got like maybe 3 weeks before once September hits, that's when the fall pattern really starts to start falling into place. The speckled trout are pretty much done spawning. I think they have like one more spawn this month and maybe one spawn in September. But a lot of the fish, the smaller fish especially, I think are going to start moving inside within the next month to month and a half. So I'm gonna talk about a little situation or pattern that you can get that you can use to get ahead of the curve a little bit, which is deep water, fishing down deep, fishing in like 25, 30 feet of water in the passes and the deep bayous that the trout are going to use to move back inland. So right now, all the trout are out on the outside. Well, most of the big trout are on the outside. Mature spawning trout are on the beaches, in the big passes and Grand Isle. Everybody's been catching them out there. But now, as this month goes on, they're going to be pretty much done with the spawn, and they're going to start to want to move back in and gorge on the shrimp that are going to start migrating out the marsh. I think what is it? The brown shrimp? Brown shrimp? I think that's what it is. Brown shrimp. White shrimp, brown shrimp, whatever. It's shrimp. They're gonna start moving out the marsh. Trout are gonna start moving into the marsh. So they're gonna abandon these areas that they were using to spawn, and they're gonna start moving inside. So you can set up you can set up in these areas where they're moving and really pick them off and do really well this time of year and in the next coming weeks. So and you can also do well right now, especially later in the day when the trout. Right now, the trout are going to be shallow early in the morning when it's cool. Once it gets hot, they move off deeper. And I've experienced that pattern in the summertime. I think last year we were fishing Alapete out here, and this is not really a good picture of it. It's kind of. I guess this is a better picture. There's another picture that's good right here. Yeah, I guess this is it. Yeah, I guess this is it. So if you see Alapete right here, it's really shallow around this whole island. And early in the morning, if you get out there first light, you can throw top waters. You can wade along this sandbar. You can wade the back, all along here and catch trout right in the shallows. But as the day gets going and the sun goes up, it gets hot. The trout move off. There's a deep channel right here that's like 20, 25 feet. Hold on, let's see. Let's see if I can pull it up. Why this thing won't load? Let's load it up. There it goes. There's a deep channel that's like 20, 25 feet on the edge of the island here. You can kind of see it here. So you got shallows. You got shallows all around here, around this whole island where this island used to be, this reef. Shallows in the back of the island. But once this day goes on, those trout move into this deep pass right here. And so when they stop biting shallow, you should know for sure that you just move off into this deep cut and fish the bottom, and you should be able to continue catching trout all day right now in the summertime. But as the weeks progress, as we get into September and move on into October, trout starting to move in. They're going to be moving in. You want to move a little further inland. So then you got your other areas that are similar to this, that are deep passes, but more inland. So you got like the Wrigley's. I'm just going to like highlight the areas I know that have this type of situation. This is going to be applicable all across the estuary, all the way to Texas probably, and probably in Texas too. But I know these areas hold fish, and this is where you hear people fishing. You got Wrigley's, you got Chef Pass. Used to have a run. I don't know what's going on with Chef Pass. I remember a few years back, maybe like 2009, 2010, Chef Pass in the fall was like the hottest spot ever. Everybody was back there catching trout. But anyway, you see like a lot of deep holes, got good tidal flow. Those fish are going to be using that to get into the marsh and into the inland to ride out the winter. And the shrimp are going to be using that to get out offshore. So yeah, another spot where this happens a lot is on Lake Bourne at the Martello Castle. That's another hot spot where the fish get in those deep channels. And I'm sure this will work somewhere down here too, down in Lafourche Parish somewhere, probably in Bayou Lafourche somewhere, or uh, what's that other spot? I know Deep Bayou right here. Deep Bayou. I'm sure this happens very similarly. Um, but yeah, the trout are going to start transitioning through those cuts. And to me, it seems like if you're getting like 40 feet of water, that's the range where the trout like to move. The trout are going to move through those passes, um, in my experience. Man, Colin is on a cruise right now. He's on vacation. He's like way in the Caribbean right now. He's probably catching some crazy fish off a cruise ship. All the fresh water is going to impact the success of the spawn. Yeah, those fish that usually spawn probably in Lake Bourne area are going to probably be further out. And yeah, it probably is going to hurt the spawn this year, but I don't think it's going to cause us too many problems. Maybe the fish will be a little bigger. There'll be less babies around to steal your bait before you can hook a big one. But I have been seeing some reports, Dan. I have been seeing some reports of people catching trout and starting to catching trout in Lake Bourne. I even saw some cryptic picture of somebody that was fishing in Lake Pontchartrain that caught a few trout. Not many, maybe like 5 or 6, but I'm pretty sure they were fishing Lake Pontchartrain and caught a few. Yeah, it's definitely the spillway definitely affects it because there's fish that there are what's the word I'm looking for? Local fish, not local. There's fish that don't migrate all the way out. There's fish that stay in the regular leagues year round. There's fish that stay closer in around like Half Moon, around in Lake Bourne. There's fish that hang out there year round, and those fish probably in a good year could probably spawn in those type of areas. They probably didn't get a good spawn this year, so that definitely will affect the recruitment. But there's tons of bait. There's tons of bait, and speckled trout. I guess the eggs need the salinity to survive. So yeah, even if they were spawning in these areas that had low salinities, the eggs wouldn't probably aren't going to make it. But I also have been hearing good reports from Chandelier Island. So maybe the trout just moved to where the conditions were right. Yeah, that's cool. What up, Dylan? You kept a few trout under lights and poured sulfur. They had eggs in them. Yeah, yeah, they're gonna still have eggs in them through September, mid-September. You're gonna still catch a few with eggs. But that's interesting that they were so far inside. I guess those are fish that those are resident fish that don't migrate to the coast probably. Um, I remember a few years back we were fishing Seabrook in the summertime. We were catching a few trout, and those trout even had eggs in them. So I don't think I don't think you really need the salinity for them to develop eggs, but you need the salinity for the eggs to survive and hatch and be successful. But yeah, so fishing those deep passes. How do I fish the deep passes? Uh, the number one easiest way to do it is get you a drop shot with a live shrimp and fish that. Yeah, I mean what do they need? What Dan said it right there. They need 10 parts per thousand to float the eggs, and they like good tidal movement. So as long as you got good tidal movement and you got 10 parts per thousand, I'm sure they'll spawn wherever it feels right for them, right? And not every fish is going to go out to the coast, and they don't have like a GPS telling them that they need to leave now and stuff like that. So yeah, it's every fish is different. It's interesting though that I don't know. I don't remember. It must just be a good year for trout. 'Cause I don't remember in years past catching this many trout inside in the summertime. But yeah, so yeah, by far the easiest way to fish these deep passes. I don't know why I'm on that. Let's go to Wrigley's. So the Wrigley's Bridge, that's a famous spot. Some of the biggest trout in history of Louisiana have been caught there. Um, you got to catch it right at the right tide. That's mostly a live bait fishery, the guys that fish that. But what you do is you just fish a drop shot with a bank sinker, a 1 or 2 ounce bank sinker, and tie a drop shot and let it hit the bottom uh, with a live shrimp. That's what most of the guys fish with, but you can use plastic also. You just got to work it a little different. But yeah, just a vertical presentation with plastic. That's something that's been catching on a little for the last few years is people fishing the drop shot with the plastic, and it's deadly effective. The bass guys have shown that the drop shot is a killer. So yeah, that's definitely the number one rig, and you can uh, play with it and make your leader line different lengths and stuff on your drop shot. I think with plastic, yeah, man, the 2 ounce sinker at Seabrook, that's the ticket right there. But in all these places, you're gonna have a strong tidal flow, so you're probably gonna want to use a little bit more weight than less weight. You want to be able to get contact with the bottom and stick it on the bottom and really get that tight line and feel it because you're gonna be fishing in 15 plus feet of water, preferably like 30, 40 feet of water. So you're gonna have a little bit of bow in your line. You're gonna want to be able to maintain that feel with the bottom. Uh, that's gonna be for all these rigs. All these rigs, you want to upsize your weight a little bit because when you're fishing in that deeper water, you really want to keep contact with the bottom. The key is to stay on the bottom. The trout are gonna be down low. The tide's gonna be moving fast, and they're gonna be trying to hug the bottom and nose into the current and not expend much energy while they're down there feeding. They're gonna just be waiting for the shrimp to drift towards them and feed. So that's another good point right there is that you want to fish with the tide. So if the tide is flowing, you want to be casting into the tide. So you want the tide to be flowing towards you. So you want to cast up tide and let the tide drift your bait back towards you because that's how all the bait is going to be moving. All the bait is going to be flowing with the tide. The trout are going to be looking up into the tide and waiting for that shrimp to meet it, and then they go pow. They're going to jump on it. Opinion on the pyramid or the round sinker? Uh, I don't I don't get that deep into like details like that. I try not to get that deep into details. Now I'll talk to a lot of people and they'll swear by the bank sinker, the round one. I do think it gives you a little bit better drift if you're trying to like drag a bait on the bottom. The bank sinker with the round belly, it'll drag a little better. But I've used pyramids, especially on a drop shot. I like the pyramid in that tide because it'll stick and you can just kind of bounce your jig and really get a nice purchase on the bottom. But yeah, my buddy Gabe, he's far more experienced than me fishing this type of pattern. He swears by the 2 ounce bank sinker in a strong tide. Now, if the tide's not moving, you can downsize. Y'all want to see the bank sinker? Okay, look, let's see. This is what I'm talking about. Bank sinker. Then we have to go through my tackle box. We'll just do like a tackle box tour one episode. That'll be cool. And I can tell y'all when I use everything and why I got it. All right, so that's the pyramid. Got the point on it. Looks like a pyramid if you flip it the other way. It's the bank sinker, the round bank sinker. And that's the one, a 2 ounce in these deeper holes, 40 feet, 30 feet with the tide moving. That's going to get you on the bottom and stick you there. Right. So yeah, if you really work in a it depends on how what action you want. If you fishing just like a dead stick drop shot, so you got your drop shot hitting the bottom, and then this is a good drop shot bait is a DOA shrimp. So you got your line coming off your bait, I mean off your weight, and then you got your bait just tied to your main line, just floating right above the bait, and you just want to shake the rod a little bit, just shake it every now and then, just make the shrimp pop, pop, pop. You're gonna feel the bite better if the weight is stuck on the bottom. Whereas if you're trying to drift the bait with the tide, you're gonna want it to not stick as much, right? Yeah. So, but if I'm trying to drift the bait with the tide, then I'm gonna talk about this next rig, which is the Carolina rig, another bass rig. But this rig is pretty famous at Seabrook. I know on the internet they call it the Rucker rig. John Rucker made it kind of famous online. Uh, he's a hell of a fisherman. If you can master this rig, you can catch fish anywhere. The Seabrook rig, I like to call it, is just a Carolina rig, but you have a extra leader length. So what you do is you put your weight onto your main line, you tie a swivel, and then you put a rod's length leader. So if you're fishing with a 6'6" rod, you want to put like a 6 foot leader, or you want to put a 7 foot leader. I know a lot of guys fish with that long leader. I like to stick with a little shorter, so probably like a 6 foot leader. And then you tie a weightless bait. You can even downsize a lot. You can fish like little crappie jigs, or um, or even like sparkle beetles and stuff like that. But little small baits. I don't know what the benefit of downsizing it. It works though. But a lot of guys like to use like 2 inch zoom flukes, or they had this other lure called a finesse minnow that everybody was crazy about on the pier back in the day. But just small baits. You want to run a 1 ounce sinker, a 1 ounce sinker on your main line. Then you tie a swivel. Then you tie you a 6 foot leader, and then you tie up. The hook I like to use is a. This is also the hook I use for when I'm live baiting. Is this Mustad? Yeah, this is it right here. Mustad bait holder size 2, and the size 1 works too. A size 1, but these are like the bronze color ones. These are really strong. I've caught jacks on them, caught big redfish on them. They're really small, but they're really strong. They work really well, and they got the little barbs on the shank to hold the bait on. Yeah, and then with that you're running that weightless. So the weight of the Carolina rig hits the bottom. The sinker is on the bottom, and then you got that long leader, which is kind of sitting off the bottom and drifting with the tide. It gives you a really natural presentation in the tide. It gives you all the weight you need to hit the bottom, but then it gives you that real weightless natural look with the lure. So that's also another good rig for fishing in deep water. We're talking 30, 40 feet of water. I just want to zoom in, zoom in. Oh wow, don't let you zoom all the way in anymore. What? All right, so yeah, so when we fish in Seabrook, we fish in this hole out here. You can see the depths 33, 39, 40 feet. This is actually not accurate because right up in here it's like 90, 89, 90 feet, right up in here where this sailboat thing is. But yeah, yeah, that's another good tip, Dan. I forgot about that. Yeah, your leader, you're gonna want to tie a fluorocarbon. I mean, not fluorocarbon, a monofilament leader. That will give you a little extra buoyancy on your bait. Keep it off the bottom. And when you're working it, you want to cast it out. This Carolina rig, Seabrook rig, Rucker rig. This takes a little learning. It has a decent learning curve, a lot more than a drop shot, because you got to really learn how to get the action and impart the action into the lure because you're not really in direct contact with it at all times. But the way you do it is you cast up current, so you want the current to be coming towards you still. You always want to be working with the current. And all you're going to do is just kind of just raise you want the sinker to hit the bottom. You want to raise the sinker up and then let the sinker just fall on a weightless fall with the tide. Let the tide do all the work. All you're doing is just raising it off the bottom and letting the tide drift it towards you. And usually on the fall, once it hits the bottom, you'll feel that weight, boom, the heavy weight hit the bottom, and then your bait, you can kind of imagine with all these techniques, especially in deep water, you got to visualize what your lure is doing. So once your weight hits, you got to give your bait time to kind of settle down, sink down to the bottom really slow because you're fishing a weightless bait. So yeah, that's the technique on that. What up, Joe? I'm trying to teach them about fishing at Seabrook right now. Talking about the Seabrook rig. What you know about the Seabrook rig, Joe? Can you give us some tips on fishing that with the long leader? Joe's an old pro at fishing on the lakefront, fishing different stuff. Spent a lot of time on the pier. The pier used to be amazing back in the day. Not so much anymore, but all right. What else we doing? The next rig is pretty simple. Why I keep putting this up? I should just leave this out. I keep reaching down and grabbing it. Next rig is very simple, which is just a half-ounce jig head. If you're in that strong tide, you're gonna need a little bit more weight. White trout. Where the white trout at? I haven't caught white trout in like a year. It's just a half-ounce jig head. I think this is a death grip. If you ain't tried the death grip yet, you need to try it. Death grip with a little super glue on the shank. You never lose a plastic ever. You're gonna lose the jig head before you lose the plastic. But put matrix shed out of business. but but not fishing at Seabrook though. You probably gonna keep everybody in business fishing at Seabrook because there's lots of snags. But yeah, if you're fishing just a half-ounce jig head, just the way that you normally fish. This technique, I like to go to just a jig head when the tide is not as strong. If the tide's strong, I'm going to fish either a drop shot or a Carolina rig just to get me that extra touch on the bottom. But yeah, the half-ounce jig head can be worked in a variety of ways. Um, One of my favorite ways, like the traditional way, is you just cast it out and let it bump on the bottom, just barely lifting it and let the tide bump it on the bottom kind of naturally. But one of my favorite ways to do it is to when the tide is not running as strong, you just vertically jig it. So you just drop it straight down to the bottom and just kind of lift it and drop it, lift it and drop it. You don't even reel. It's just almost like you cane pole fishing. You're just jigging it like you would do a soccer league. You just drop it, let it hit the bottom, get your line tight, and you want to just lift it and let it drop back down slowly. And a lot of times those fish will smack it on the drop. I don't know why people don't fish like this in like these places. Seabrook was one of the best fisheries ever, and it all it was just a fast moving pass that had I guess it was a lot more salty back in the day when the Mr. Go was connected to it. But I don't know why people don't fish like coming out of pass like this or fish some of the other areas, the mouth of Bayou Lafourche and stuff further west too. I'm sure there's multiple areas you could do this. Any old bayou like this right here, probably you could fish it that way. Is anybody even in here listening to me? Am I just rambling? I'm gonna keep rambling then. I don't even care. What other ways do you do this? Um, this technique, this vertical jigging technique, can also be used with a silver spoon. What did I do with those silver spoons? Oh, I left them outside. Just a jigging spoon, like a freshwater jigging spoon. So you just let me type this in real quick. Just like a slab spoon. There we go. Load. Why my computer is going so slow? I didn't buy a new computer, but yeah, like just like a little chrome silver spoon, it works really well. A lot of my experience with this is at Seabrook, so I'll let y'all know when it gets going at Seabrook. We'll have to have a meetup out there. Everybody bring their kayaks. We're gonna just bogart the whole spot. We're gonna just take over. But yeah, that silver spoon just vertically jigging. You gotta let it fall on a slack line, but yeah, if you do that, that's the way to go. I don't know. All right. So yeah, that's like 3 ways I fish it. Um, that's the 3 techniques I use. Anybody got any questions? How do I handle the current when it's really strong? You just got to use more weight. Um, a lot of times you use a 2 ounce weight. That's pretty much the heaviest I'll go if I'm trout fishing in the past is a 2 ounce weight. The only other thing you can do in those areas like where the water's moving, when it's moving fast, is you can move closer to the shoreline. So if you're in like in the Wrigley's on the bridge, the tide is going to move faster. You can see these white lines. You can see that's the fastest moving water. That's dead in the center. So if you start to get out of the current a little bit and move over to the side, there's going to be a sweet spot where the water's moving, but it's not moving as fast. And let's see, what's the only other way you can combat it is to fish a little slower. So you don't want to be, if the tide is really ripping through, you don't want to be moving your bait a lot. You want to let the tide really do the work, let the sinker hit the bottom and really methodically lift it and let it sink back down. Because if you start lifting it too high, the tide is going to catch it and just blow it out of the strike zone immediately. So yeah, that's the only 2 things I can say about that. But yeah, and if you're fishing these deep areas where the tide is moving, you want to pay particular attention to how you're casting, where you casting to. If you start getting bites, you want to try to replicate that drift over and over again. Um, this is like one of the most important places when you're fishing a moving bayou. One of the most important places to like kind of keep that bait in the same zone over and over again. Because those fish are going to be tight to like one little structure, one little area. It might be like a hump that they're sitting behind or some kind of current break. And if you can sweep it through in front of their face, um, that's the way you're going to get them every time. They're sitting there waiting to feed. What kind of kayak do I use? I use a Hobie Outback, a 2009 Hobie Outback to be exact. Oldie. Um, I wouldn't go with any other kayak. I love my Hobie. The foot pedals make it so easy to get where I need to go and fish and hold my position and really focus on fishing rather than kayaking. So yeah, but there's a bunch of pedal models out nowadays, so you just got to go out and demo them. Massey's does demo days, or the backpacker, or wherever you're at. There's the kayak store in your area will do a demo day, and you can go and try out all the different kayaks and see which one you like the best. But don't let that stop you from getting a kayak. Like, just get whatever you can get. Get out there on the water. Anybody got any other questions? They don't have to be pertaining to my rant that I'm doing tonight. Joe want to know where the speckled trout is at. Speckled trout are in the water, Joe. I seen what's his name? Devin did a good video of fishing the long rocks. I think that came out today. Called a limited trout at the long rocks. They've been out there. They're staying out there. Just like every year though. Anybody else on here? Anybody else got any questions, any topics? What did I do? Yesterday, not yesterday, the other day, when was that? The other day I snuck out and went to try to go jack fishing. I've been trying to keep an eye and see when they get in, but I'm officially in the camp that the jacks are not going to come in this year. The spillway effects of the spillway are just too much. That fresh water poured in for too long. I'm thinking that what happened is here. Let's go back to the world view. That's what we need to go to. World view. Where are you? The world view. I'm starting to think that the spillway like created like a wall. Like if you can see like the Lake Pontchartrain is really clean. Lake Pontchartrain is very clean. And if you look in Lake Bourne, where I think the jacks and the sharks and the tarpon and stuff move in, it's uh it's all river water still. And so I think this is like some kind of like impenetrable wall right here that's been formed by the spillway that's going to stop the migration. It probably sent them all this way out to the chandeliers or something. Any pattern to drum through the year? What do I know about drum? What do I know about drum? I know in the springtime the drum do some weird stuff. They get grouped up. I don't know if they're spawning or what, but I know in the spring back in the day we used to see them and they would cruise. They would cruise along the lakefront, along the steps and stuff, and you just see like this big white cloud hovering along the steps, and they would just come by in a parade back one after another. And what else do they do? In the fall, we used to catch them back in the canals. They would tail up. They'd get on the shorelines and tail up and be rooting all in the bottom in the fall. So I guess they do some weird stuff in the spring and the fall. They get easy to catch. But I don't know. Drum, what's the pattern? I know in Delaware, when I was up north in Delaware, they used to have this huge migration, and these were like massive, like offshore drum. These are like the big bulls, like 70, 60, 70 pound drum. And they would just come through in these huge schools off in like Delaware, New Jersey, and they would fish them every year. So I'm sure they do something similar in Louisiana. Nobody goes after them. Nobody does anything with them. Devin Denman, Louisiana fishing blog. Let's see. I thought you guys knew about him. Shout out to my man PFD TV. If nobody was here earlier, go check his channel out. He makes some cool videos, some nice edits. Right here, Louisiana Fishing Blog on YouTube, Facebook, whatever. This is Devin. He does a lot of teaching. If you don't know his stuff, it's very good, very informative. Much better than my stuff. Like you can really learn something from watching him. But this is a really cool video. He kind of just goes like throughout his whole day and shows you what happens and what happened, like how a day of fishing goes. And he caught some fish. What do you say? A limited trout. Just doing the regular stuff though. He does. It's not nothing special. I think what he does best is he shows people how to keep it simple, how to not overthink it. He breaks it down to real layman's terms. Anybody got any fishing plans for the weekend? Looking like we shaping up to be pretty good. Have a pretty good weekend this weekend. I think I might actually get a chance to fish this Sunday and deal with the crowds of the weekend crowds. So I think I'm gonna give it a shot. If the weather holds up, I had Isle Pete on the brain. That's where I really want to go. I haven't been out there all year. I guess I'll go and try to break through that impenetrable freshwater bubble that's like sitting right here, and go out to Isle Pete and see what's going on. I also haven't done any triple tail fishing, exploring since like 4th of July when we ran into the freshwater bubble. Yeah, maybe we'll go past Half Moon Go sneak out here and see what I can do on Sunday. Yeah, Devin Dimon. He's the man. Louisiana fishing blog. Really good content. Oh, Dan's gonna go down to Venice. Let's see. I want to see my combat launches down in Venice. Oh, they're not even marked. Well, let's put up the secret stash and let's see. There's a few combat launches in Venice. They're all about the same quality spots. I don't even have them marked out. They got the one. There's one right here at the end of that first road, like right past the first road. Then there's another one a little further down you can cut through. You know, you just pick a spot along Tidewater. You're going to look for redfish, Dan? This is the one. This is the one I use the most, though. Down at the end, towards right before you get to the road to go to Venice Marina. Go launch right here, and go out, and you can get to the wagon wheel pretty easily. You launch here, and then you can shoot. I think right here and get in the wagon wheel if you want to get in the wagon wheel, and see what you can do in there. Or you can go out past and go out into Yellow Cotton Bay. It's not far at all. Straight across there. They probably got some flounder down there, maybe. This looks like it's setting up. Looks like it's setting up to be a good fall for flounder. I've been seeing a lot of people catching them all summer, like more than I've seen in the past few summers. So I'm thinking when the run really starts in like September, October, whenever they really start moving out, they're gonna be on. Maybe we gonna get a little run in the lake or something, maybe too. I haven't gotten on them in a while in the lake. I don't know, man. Last time I was down there though, I seen some huge mullet. I just want to hook one of those mullet because they were like, we launched, me and my brother launched, and we like, I guess we passed right over the pot of mullet that was sitting in the grass, and these things were powerful things. They like were jumping out the water. One hit my boat and just smacked the side of my kayak. I wish I could figure out how to catch them. They were like 2 foot mullet, literally, like big, strong mullet. Oh man, that was funny though. We were freaking out. We didn't know what it was at the time. We thought they were like, who knows? We didn't know. We thought it was some offshore fish or something, snook or something. But there was just big mullets. Yeah, I'm sure you run into some flounder. I mean, if you get in the wagon wheel, I think they probably have bass down there too. It's been really fresh, so the bass are probably spread out. I heard a secret that if you wanted some good bass fishing, you should fish at the fish inside Venice Marina, inside the thing, inside the actual marina. You can go catch like a tuna carcass at the cleaning table. Those guys are cleaning the tunas. They like just they take the easy meat out. Maybe it was an Asian carp. It was really fast. It was strong. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, Dylan. All this time I thought it was a big mullet. You're right, cause they did like all spook. Like as soon as we came over them, they just all like went everywhere, and they were big. Hmm. Asian carp. There you go, Dan. Go catch you some Asian carp. Maybe I'm gonna have to look up the drum pattern. I'm gonna have to read up on that. It'd probably be fun to catch like a 70-pound drum. I know when they do that stuff in Delaware, that's like early spring. They go out and catch the drum off the beach, and it's like huge schools of big black drum. That's the problem with inshore fishing. Yeah, that's true, Dylan. Yeah, now that I think about it, they do that does fit the description of what happened. That fits the description precisely. Like we ran over them and they just like went everywhere. All right, guys. Nobody else got any plans? Dan's the only one going fishing this weekend, huh? Me and Dan. Joe, you still in here? I think Joe probably bowed out. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go try and do like a little hybrid triple tail trout. I don't know, whatever else is out here doing crazy stuff trip. Last year we were going out here, there was like huge frenzies of like all kind of crazy stuff. Spanish mackerel, big ladyfish and bull reds and sharks, and it was just all kind of crazy stuff out here. So haven't been out there in a while. We're gonna go see what's going on. What up, John? What up, Charles? Charles is going to Shell Beach for some sheephead. Fishing frenzy going to Bayou St. Denis. Where's that at? I'm not really familiar with Lafitte. I know they've been catching some fish in Lafitte though, like right when you get out to like Barataria Bay out here. I've been seeing a lot of people reporting that. Leeville. What's in Leeville? Leeville, that's an interesting spot right now. Are you gonna run out to the beach, John? Are you gonna go? Are you gonna stay in the Leeville area? Charles, what you been catching the sheephead on? You been catching them on just market bait right before Barataria Bay. Yeah, so I guess that's the area the guy was telling me that he was catching them. Why is this picture got clouds? Mud Lake. I think yeah, this is the name I heard like Mud Lake, and then there was what was the other place? I think it's right here. What? What? Um. Oh, there it is. Bayou St. Denis. Okay, I see it. It was like somewhere on this side. The guy was talking about closer to like the feet. Oh, you're gonna stay in the bay? Okay, interesting. Oh yeah, that's true. They do have the kayak tournament, but not necessarily, Dan. The Slamboree, I think you can fish the whole LA1 corridor. I know a lot of guys are probably gonna spread out a little bit, so it probably won't be too congested with kayaks in Leeville. So John, are you still rig fishing? That's something I don't know how to do. Something I haven't ever done before, really. We did it. Me and my brother did it maybe once last year. We ran out to rigs in out here in Breton Sound, and we caught like two fish. We ran out to like these rigs out here. Where are they? Why it won't load? My computer is whack. I need a new computer. It's probably because I got all these tabs and stuff open. Yeah, yeah. The weight is in top water, but I think you can kind of spread out. I know the last time I did it, I was fishing down. I fished down in Grand Isle area. I think that's allowed. Man, I wish I could get off of that. I need to put a new plaque on the wall. I haven't even tried in the last few tournaments. Kayak tournament season's gonna start back up though. It's gonna get back into the swing of things. Okay, John, that's interesting. That sounds cool, man. How do you go to the Long Rocks in Hopedale? It's not really a kayak spot. The Long Rocks is are way like down this way, Charles. So it's like a 15-20 mile run. You're not gonna make it. But if you want to go like to some rocks in the kayak, you can go to the Hopedale Dam, which is like what 1.5 miles. You launch at Hopedale Marina and then run down the Mystico and hang a right. You're gonna run into the rocks. And I've been seeing a lot. They've been catching some good redfish at the dam like all summer long. I think it has something to do with the tide. If the tide, when the tide starts to hit right, like fall, I think it is. Those reds are getting piled up at the rocks at the dam, and they've been killing them. I talked to multiple people who've done that. But yeah, guys, looks like we're gonna have a good weekend. We're gonna have to deal with the heat and the regular summer storm. So just get out there early. Get out there early and beat the heat. That's gonna be your best fishing time anyway. Is before the sun gets up, and get out of there early before you burn. Yeah, Charles, go check it out. There's always all kind of stuff there at the dam. Everything that's like migrating out gets stuck, gets piled up right there. The bait, the fish, fishermen. Shell Beach is a cool spot during the summertime because, like I was talking about earlier, you got that deep pass where you get the deep water. That's gonna stay cool. West winds all week. Wait, I was looking at the world view earlier. Let's see. Let's go back to the world view. Check it out with John. I think we got a pretty good picture today. Didn't have too much cloud cover. Oh man, nah, the clouds got you on your side of the world. Clouds blocked everything. Oh man. But yeah, you can see the east side pretty good. It doesn't look like it dirtied too much up, John. Just based on the I don't know, but maybe it's different on that side. Maybe it's blowing water from like the what is that, the Chafalaya and stuff. Roderick, what up, Roderick? Um, yeah, I've caught a few bowfin, shoe pick, we call them down here. Most of my that type of fishing I've done what is that? What's those area? What is that? I've caught some shoe pick out here along what is this? 50, 51 out in like what is this? Rudock. This is an area I've caught them before. Pretty much anywhere in the freshwater. Once you start getting a little further north, you can catch them. Further west. Then I've caught a few in desert almonds too. I don't do too much freshwater fishing though. When I do go freshwater fishing, they're not hard to catch. I catch them, just like bass fishing as bycatch, Roger. I have a few videos. If you go back in time on my channel, you can see I have a few videos catching chew pit, bowfin. What up, Steve? I was watching your video, man. That was some big white trout you caught. That was some monster white trout. I haven't seen stuff like that in a while. The snapper were cool too, like the shoe pick and bayou signet. I don't know. I guess they probably are in bayou signet. I know that. Hold on, where's the spot that I know? In Boutique, no, in this Paradis. This canal right here, I heard has like a decent amount of shoe picks too. Um, it's right by the canal by Dollar General in Paradis. I heard it was a good little spot for shoe pick. You can walk the bank and fish all along down the canal there. You can just walk along, and then I think you can go down this way too and fish along. I've been wanting to go catch them. They're pretty fun to catch. I got a little thing I want to do. Yeah, man, that was some huge white trout. I'd never seen a white trout like that in a while. I remember a few years back though. When was that? Can't remember what year that was. But we had like that hard freeze a few, like not recent, like maybe like 7, 8 years ago. We had that hard freeze. It's when people first discovered all the reds stacking up down in Wyclosky when it gets real cold. But it's when people first went crazy over 'em, like 7, 8 years ago. We had a hard freeze in the lake, and after that freeze, a bunch of big white trout floated up, and they were like, I swear, like they were all frozen on the bank. They had all washed up, and we walked down Hain, and there was like some like big, like white trout, like you would catch like 24, 25-inch white trout that had washed up. Haven't caught a white trout since in the lake. The diversion in St. Charles was great for you. They posted all of it. Huh. Where? Oh, I guess so it don't even matter where it's at. Was that the canal that I was just talking about? Yeah, that's the problem with so many spots down here is they close it off, they put a gate on it, or they'll post signs up. You just gotta go at your own risk. And if you find a spot, don't tell too many people because that's a short bet that it's gonna get locked up. People are disrespect the fishing areas. If you go to these places on the bank, if you go on the water anywhere, make sure you maintain, get your trash. Don't let it blow out the boat. Don't let it blow out your truck. Don't leave it on the bank. Take your trash home with you. You got a trash can at your house, throw it away. It's not that big of a deal. That's my recommendation for everybody. Yeah, that's pretty cool, Steve. But white trout will hit a cut bait. You can ask Joe. I think Joe already left us. Joe loves to fish with white trout. His favorite white trout bait is white trout. He'll catch that first white trout and cut it up and throw it right back in there and catch probably like 5, 10 more on that one little piece of white trout before you have to cut another piece off the fillet. But yeah, white man, I grew up catching white trout. That was that's probably why I don't eat them anymore. I realized that I didn't like them. I ate them. Yeah, we used to sit at the Seabrook. You could go to Seabrook like right around this time of year, late summer, and just fill up ice chests after ice chests with white trout. What up, GM? Oh man, I've been on here for how long? I've been on here for like an hour now, just talking about nothing. Man, this is a good picture. You can see everything in the lake. But yeah, man, I miss the old days, the good old days, where you could just go to the lake and drop some market bait on the bottom and catch nice croakers and white trout. Those days are gone now, though. You can't do that too much anymore. GM going to Delacroix. Oh, that was pretty cool. When I was looking earlier at the world view, I noticed Delacroix is starting to get a little salt, clean water pushing in. You can see it. You can kind of see this little swirl of clean water getting pushed in Delacroix now towards I guess was that Point Lahash, and it's kind of going up this way now too. Charlie caught a nice mess of crabs off Bayou Road. Awesome. Yeah, that's another thing you can do right now. Late summer, the crabs are really feeding. Um, I was reading something about crabs, and they were talking about how they eat so much more in the warm water than when it's cold. So I guess that's why crabs is a summertime thing. But some good crabbing spots. That's another good thing you can do when it's hot, because you can always jump in the car and cool off, or you don't have to stay out there all day. Nice, Jim. 4 pound bass. That's a solid bass for down here in Louisiana. Couple good spots for crabbing around the city of New Orleans. You got Salt Bayou right here. They're doing construction. This is a new picture, but they're still working on this bridge right here. But I know people used to crab right along these rocks right here in this little canal right here. Um, that's a good spot. Lake Road in Lacombe, another good spot. Where else people crab? I know a lot of people crab right here in Irish Bayou. You can crab off the. I don't know if the St. Tammany Pier is open. They closed it during the what you call it. Yeah, that's all good spots. And then you can also go out the city, Grand Bayou Road. Where else we got? Down in Grand Isle, crabbing ain't hard. Just find you some good water and throw you some chicken legs or turkey necks out in the string. GM caught a nice bass though, huh? Oh, Island Road too. That's also another good crabbing spot. I also saw some guys fishing off the bank down there were doing good. I stay reading fishing reports. I don't always follow them, but I keep an eye on the fishing reports. That's another tip. Keep an eye on the fishing reports and see what's going on in the given area. A lot of times lately, though, I like to go like away from the fishing reports, see if I can find my own stuff. But that's probably dumb. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm just rambling now about nothing. Oh, Marshman did a crabbing video. What up, Francis? Yeah, the crabs. This is like prime crabbing time, August when it's real hot. They gotta like eat kind. Somewhere I was reading that like where the crabs have to like eat nonstop when the water's really warm. Something about the like how their metabolism works and stuff. That's why they're pretty easy to catch. Yeah, Francis, you missed me. I'm about to get out of here. I'm gonna go chill out for a minute. I had a long day today in the heat, but I want to thank everybody for coming out. Shout out to Dan. Happy birthday. Where can you catch pompano, Roderick? Man, that's a random question. I heard they were catching. You can catch pompano like on the beach in Grand Isle, but probably your best bet is to go to Alabama or Florida somewhere. Um, get out on like the clean water. I know you can catch them. You can catch them on the beaches in Louisiana, but I think it's kind of rare. Now I heard some. I heard. I've read like an old article. Like back in the day, they used to catch them by the ton on the close nearshore rigs in the wintertime. But I don't think anybody does that anymore. That fishery kind of dried up. But yeah, pompano like right now this time of year is on the beach, and your best bet is probably gonna be to go further to like Florida, or like very far east in Alabama. Go out that way, which isn't far if you're in Louisiana. If you're in Louisiana, Roger, it's like what 3 hour drive. You could make a day trip out of it if you're crazy, like me. Or you can just get your little hotel overnight, fish the uh, fish the beach in Florida. That's Alabama, Florida. All right, guys, I'm out of here. See y'all next week. We're gonna talk about something else that's useless or random. Shout out to Francis coming with the Pompano facts. All right, guys. I'll see y'all next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for participating in the chat. Go catch some fish this weekend. We're gonna have a good weekend, I think. So just the west wind is gonna throw a little confusion in there, but it should be good. All right, guys. Good night.